Welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live, local, 5 days a week look into all things Oakland County. Today, we'll be talking to university officials, stewards of fun and events, and more about topics interesting and important to people like you right here in Oakland County. Let's get into today's headlines on our website, civiccentertv.com. On our local news page. Our top story from Mike Wilkinson at Bridge, Michigan. It's their coronavirus tracker. As COVID-19 cases rose 6% in the past week to 17,590, up from 16,586, with rates increasing in 40 out of 83 counties statewide, according to reports as of Tuesday. Since the week of July 4th, confirmed weekly cases have risen nearly 43%, but experts say that is likely an undercount because many of the people that are testing positive with home tests and riding out the illness are doing so without confirming the test in the state's weekly count. Hospitals across much of Michigan are reporting patients with 1,072 with confirmed or suspected COVID statewide. That's the most since May 25th. Though the latest variant of Omicron is more transmissible and blamed for the nationwide increase in cases, a similar fraction of COVID-19 patients are in serious condition. As of Tuesday, 107 of the COVID-19 patients across the state were in intensive care units compared to more than 1,000 during the worst of the Delta and the first wave of the Omicron subvariants. Over the past week, the state reported an additional 90 COVID-19 deaths. That's down from 96 in the previous week. From the 1st of December of last year through January of this year, as Delta and Omicron hit the state, there were more than an average of 100 cases in which COVID-19 patients had died per day. Since April 1st, the average is at 11, so definitely a stark difference there. If the rate continued for a full year, that would be 4,015 deaths, more than the number 8 cause of death in Michigan, which is diabetes, with 3,408 deaths per year, and more than the number 9 killer of people in Michigan, kidney disease, at 1,940 cases, as well as the number 10 case of death in Michigan, pneumonia and influenza, at 1,880. Heart disease continues to be the number 1 cause of death in Michigan, with an average of 27,090 cases per year. That in 2020, and was number 3 that year among all causes of death. The percentage of laboratory tests that came back positive rose to 20%, up from 19.4 a week ago. It's 20.3% to be exact. In early January, a third of tests were coming back positive, and as many as 500,000 people were getting tested per week. Over the past week, just 95,057 people were tested. Additionally, making headlines from the Detroit Free Press's Todd Spangler and Emma Stein, Haley Stevens yesterday in the primary election defeated fellow Democrat Andy Levin in the battle for the congressional seat in the 11th district. Of course, this is just the nomination for the Democratic candidate to go up against the Republican in the general election happening in November. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party stalled out in Oakland County on Tuesday night as the U.S. Representative Haley Stevens, a pragmatic centrist in the party, defeated fellow U.S. Representative Andy Levin in a race for the newly drawn congressional district in the 11th district in Oakland County. With nearly all of the votes counted in the Democratic primary as of 7 a.m. today in the new 11th district, Stevens of Waterford maintained a commanding 60% to 40% lead over Andy Levin of Bloomfield Township in a race that was one of the most brutal inter-party fights for a U.S. House seat in Michigan in recent memories. Stevens had held the lead throughout the night, and Dave Wasserman of the Cook Political Report, a political analysis site located in Washington, D.C., called the race for Stevens shortly after 9 p.m. on Tuesday evening. Stevens claimed that she had won in an email just before 10 p.m., though Levin's campaign did not concede officially until about 10:30 p.m. The Associated Press called the race about that same time. You can continue to get updates on this and more from the Detroit Free Press on the website, linked in this article. Quote, as a proud daughter of Oakland County, I can't wait to be the first woman to represent so many communities here in the new 11th district, wrote Haley Stevens in a statement. She continued on by saying, quote, this has been an incredible race. Voters of Oakland County, thank you. Thank you for putting your trust in me and choosing me to continue to be your voice in Washington. I am rooting for you. I'm working for you, and I will not stop fighting for you, end closed quote. Representative Levin congratulated Representative Stevens and recognized her for running a strong campaign, saying he will support her nomination and that of other Democrats. But he also said that he was a victim of, quote, a largely Republican-funded campaign set on defeating the movement I represent, no matter where I ran, end closed quote. Levin's loss means that for the first time since 1979, when his uncle, the late Senator Carl Levin, a Democrat also from Michigan, won an election that next year there will be no member of the Levin family representing Michigan in the United States Congress. Stevens will face off against Mark Ambrose, also of Bloomfield Township, a veteran and a financial analyst who defeated businessman Matthew Donater of Waterford in the primary yesterday on the Republican side of the ballot. With almost all the vote in as of Wednesday morning, Ambrose led Donater 70.5% to 29.5% in a landslide victory. But this district has been redrawn to give the Democratic nominee a clear edge in November's general election. Stevens, who was chief of staff to President Obama's auto task force that eventually rescued General Motors and what was then Chrysler in 2009, is a wonky millennial. During her time in office, she has charted a more mainstream path in her party and focused on automation and technological advances she sees as helping businesses and workers, and probably befits a candidate who managed to flip what was a reliably Republican district until just 4 years ago. Levin, meanwhile, is a member of one of the best-known political families in the state's history. He is also a vocal, visible member of the Democratic Party's more progressive wing, a former union organizer who is willing to challenge more centrist elements of his party when he believes that they are not bold enough. He also won endorsements from some key progressives, including U.S. Senators Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Levin and Stevens still vote with each other, their party and President Joe Biden, on the vast majority of issues, but that did not keep the campaign from becoming a hostile affair. Levin, meanwhile, is a member of one of the best-known political families in Michigan and will continue to have a significant influence on politics in the state. Stevens had lived outside of the district until this year in Rochester Hills, but she grew up in the district, and most of her current district is included in the new 11th. More of her district is included in the new current 11th district coming up as of this election than is Representative Levin's. The campaign truly began to heat up when Levin was attacked by the Washington, D.C. based American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC, and its super PAC, the United Democracy Project, or UDP, which together pumped nearly $5 million into the race on behalf of Representative Stevens. The organizations also blasted Levin, who is Jewish, as an anti-Israel candidate, despite his positions largely mirroring those of Stevens in regards to the Middle East. The distinction between the candidates is that Levin has been far more apt to criticize Israel for the country's policies involving Palestinians in the occupied territories, and far more likely to align himself with other progressives, including U.S. Representative Rashida Tlaib, a Democrat from Detroit, who has been far more critical of U.S. aid to Israel. Stevens, too, was also the subject of attacks, including an ad from a Jewish group in Washington that endorsed Representative Levin and criticized her for accepting millions of AIPAC dollars in support, when that group has also backed many Republicans who voted to decertify the 2020 election, though that wasn't the reason that AIPAC provided the funding to them. The groups also got funding from Republican backers, including Paul Singer and Bernie Marcus. Levin also took Stevens to task for voting for amendments he and other progressives argued could have hurt the chances of passage of a minimum wage increase in 2019, even though she ultimately voted to approve that bill without those changes. In Bloomfield Hills, Jeanette Phillips, who said she always voted Republican until 2016, supported Representative Levin. Quote, "He lives here. He has been committed to this area and to his whole district for years. Haley moved to get into this district. I just feel good about Andy. I know he really cares. He has 4 children. He's a family guy. He gets up and gets at it, and he really wants to help us. His family history, I think, only helps because he has experience in the ways and the workings of Washington, D.C. The argument went the other way for Peter Smith, a former Chrysler employee who also was voting in Bloomfield Hills. He cast his ballot for Stevens, as he said to the Detroit Free Press. Quote, "I remember that she worked on the auto bailout when she was on Obama's team, and at that point, I was with Chrysler," and closed quote. Finally, making headlines on our page from the Associated Press via the Detroit News, some sad news over the weekend as 2 cyclists were killed in a Western Michigan charity ride. They have now been identified, and the driver in that incident has been charged. A woman was charged on Monday with causing the deaths of 2 cyclists who were struck by her vehicle while riding in the weekend charity event in Western Michigan. Mandy Ben, a 43-year-old, was charged on Monday in 64A District Court in Ionia with operating while intoxicated, causing death and other crimes. It wasn't immediately known if she has hired a lawyer or has received one from the court system and whom that may or may not be. Bond was set at $1 million. She remains at this time in the Ionia County Jail. Ben was driving an SUV north on Stage Road on Saturday when she allegedly struck a group of 5 southbound cyclists. 2 cyclists were killed and 3 were severely injured in the crash. The men were hit during a 3-day endurance ride for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The identities of 2 who died were named as Edward Erickson, a 48-year-old from Ann Arbor, and Michael Salhaney, a 57-year-old from Bloomfield Hills. Prosecutor Kyle Butler said Ben was trying to pass a UPS truck on the rural road when she crossed the center line and hit the cyclists. She had no alcohol in her system but had slurred speech and couldn't follow instructions, said Butler. There's evidence that she was using prescription drugs, however, he had said. Quote, people want to believe that bicyclists can protect themselves by wearing the right protective equipment, using the right lights, or riding in the correct way, said Matt Pettiman of the League of Michigan Bicyclists. Quote, he continued on by saying, quote, none of those were sufficient to protect these riders, and blaming the victims is never appropriate, and close quote. Make-A-Wish of Michigan canceled the final day of its annual weekend-long Make-A-Wish bicycle tour event out of respect for the families of the cyclists killed. In a statement, Make-A-Wish said, quote, our staff and the entire Make-A-Wish family are heartbroken and offer our deepest sympathy for the riders involved, their loved ones, and all members of the WAM community during this difficult time. We are thankful for the first responders who arrived immediately to save lives, and close quote. The nonprofit is also offering grief counselors to riders, staff, and volunteers who participated in this year's tour, the 35th annual tour of this event. All those headlines are on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate and up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division on the local level. We have a great program ahead on this Wednesday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Up next, Lindsay Zeig from Oakland University joins us. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll be joined by Canterbury Village's Keith Aldridge to tell you about more fun events happening this summer and into the fall and throughout the rest of the year. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it.
Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer.
Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine.
To keep safe and strong.
Be like happy, having fun everywhere.
Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com and clicking on our homepage, going to civiccentertv.com and / Megacast, where you'll find all of our information on our network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast from Oakland University is their Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies program academic advisor, Lindsay Zeig. Lindsay, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So the Interdisciplinary Studies program at Oakland University is a pretty unique program for many of these universities. We have students throughout the state of Michigan, throughout the U.S. that are often not entirely sure when they go to college, but exactly what they want to study or what their specific area of interest is. How does this program help to address that while they continue on through their academic journey?
Yeah, absolutely. The Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies is a program where students can design their degree based on their specific career goals. So it works well for students who want to integrate different areas together, perhaps students that are transferring in with multiple transfer credits from other institutions. We can really use all of those credits to design an individualized degree that is literally perfect for every single student.
So it really allows them to explore many areas of interests that they can explore, and opportunities that they have at Oakland University to advance their academic career and even set them up for extensive different paths that they can go when they do finish their career at Oakland University.
Yeah, absolutely. So quite a few of our students do go on for graduate school. So sometimes students will use our program as a stepping stone in order to complete the prerequisites that they need to go on for medical school or PA school, even law school. We have an agreement with some local law schools where students can double count their senior year with their first year of law school. So some really creative ways to maximize credits and to set students up. Now, if students are not quite sure what they want, since they're creating this individualized degree, our counselors in our office do intensive career counseling so that we can help students to be really confident and sure about their next steps. And then we can develop this individualized plan of study to help them to get to that point.
We're joined by Lindsay Zeig. She is the program academic advisor at Oakland University for their Bachelor of Integrative Studies program, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can get more information on the program by visiting Oakland's website at oakland.edu/BIS. That's oakland.edu/BIS, which stands, of course, for Bachelor of Integrative Studies. And so who are good candidates for a degree program like this? If somebody is considering going to Oakland University and studying interdisciplinary studies, what makes them a good candidate for that degree program, or what makes you as an academic advisor advise them to then go into that specific degree program?
Yeah, good question. Transfer students. So we really service a lot of students who have some college and no degree. So what I have found as an academic advisor in my time at Oakland has been, I come across students who maybe started college 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, 30 years ago sometimes, and they never finished their degree for multiple reasons. Either they got a great job, or they started a family, or maybe college just wasn't right for them then. And so now they want to fulfill their lifelong dream of getting a bachelor's degree. So they can transfer all of those credits that they did before and apply those directly towards this program. And then we will help them to develop that final year or wherever they're at, right? So that they can be best prepared for their next steps.
So as they're going through this program, obviously they're studying in a number of different areas. It's an interdisciplinary study. It's not necessarily so specific to the sciences or specific to the arts or the humanities. It's a little bit of a lot so that they can venture out into different areas of interest in terms of their ability to take that degree program and then turn that into a job when they do graduate and then to a career path after that. What sort of help is there from Oakland University? Because I would imagine on the other side, for those that are interviewing candidates who have gone through this program, that this seems like a very broad degree program when they maybe are looking for something more specific.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the interdisciplinary studies program is really in line with the idea that a lot of employers are looking for folks who know how to do more than one thing, right? That are skilled in multiple different areas, this idea of an interdisciplinary workforce. And so that is something that we train our students in, is to be intentional about their course choices so that they will be uniquely qualified for the career field. So one of the ways that we do that too is through their capstone course. So every single one of our students does a capstone course before they graduate, where they learn to articulate their degree and to really talk about what skills, what concepts, what theories, what abilities did they learn from each of their courses that is going to help them to be successful in their career fields. And so our students go on to be really successful. They can offer different things to different organizations, and go on to really utilize every single skill that they gain through their coursework in a unique way.
We're joined by Lindsay Zeig. She is the program academic advisor for the Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies at Oakland, sorry, of Integrative Studies program at Oakland University. You can learn more information on the Bachelor of Integrative Studies program by visiting oakland.edu/BIS. That's oakland.edu/BIS for more information on the Bachelor of Integrative Studies program, as well as their Interdisciplinary Studies program at Oakland University. And so as students are crafting their integrative studies degree, and because there is so much flexibility with that and customizable nature to this degree program, how do you as an academic advisor then work with them to create a degree program that gets them this degree at Oakland University, qualifies them to receive their degree from Oakland University in integrative studies, but also set them up individually for what their best areas of interest are and where they would like to go in their career path, or where they're considering in their career path?
Yeah, good question. So the first thing that we do when we get a student who's interested in the program is we meet with them and talk about their career goals. So our academic advisors are highly trained in all areas that we offer at the university. So we're familiar with every single different school, every single different college, and all of the course offerings that are available. And so we help to guide students in choosing the classes that are going to be the best fit for them. As they're applying for this individualized degree, we work with students to, number one, select their coursework, and then write a rationale, which is essentially 6 questions asking about the student's career goals, what are their aspirations, and how will these courses help them to achieve those goals. The last step in the process is we have them meet with a faculty mentor. So we get them connected with one of our professors that specializes in the area that they want to go into. So it's just another person in place to support them. So we like to look at it as a very holistic process where they get their academic advisor, they have their faculty mentor, and then they have their professors in each course that are available to help them in developing the strongest plan possible. So we bring in our expertise, but then we go to somebody who is even more qualified in that exact field, so that they're getting that individualized advice, which is actually pretty unique. And so then students can feel really good about their choices.
We're joined by Lindsay Zeig from Oakland University. She is the academic program advisor at Oakland University for the Bachelor of Integrative Studies program. More information can be found on that program by visiting oakland.edu/BIS. That's oakland.edu/BIS for more information. Lindsay, if students are exploring a degree in integrative studies or considering going into the interdisciplinary studies program at Oakland University, why should they consider that as opposed to double majoring, where they can go out and have 2 degrees in 2 different programs and take that similar route, but having 2 degrees in your belt instead of 1?
Yeah, good question. So that is an opportunity too, and we do advise students on both options. The advantage to the interdisciplinary studies degree is really just time. So time and cost. So they can do the entire program in 120 credits. We can maximize those transfer credits. One thing that's really beneficial are our articulation agreements that we have with local community colleges, where students can transfer in up to 88 credits. So a lot of students will do 88 credits at Oakland Community College, Macomb Community College, SC4, any Michigan community college, we can accept up to 88. And then they'll do their last 32 credits at OU. So it's a big time and cost saver. And I think that that's where that advantage is, why a student would choose this program over a double major where it might take them twice the amount of time, and they can accomplish some of those same goals.
Just how unique is this program to Oakland University? Is this something that's commonly at many universities in Michigan or across the region, maybe even the U.S., or is this something that's really quite unique and innovative on the part of Oakland?
So integrative studies programs, interdisciplinary study programs in general are all over the place, and sometimes they're structured already. So there are many bachelor's degrees that are already interdisciplinary, meaning they bring in different subject areas, but they have a name attached to it and specific courses that are required to take. But as far as designing your degree and creating that individualized plan, many colleges in Michigan have that option. So it's not completely unique to Oakland. I think what's unique to Oakland is our transfer-friendly option that we're able to accept as many transfer credits as what we can, and then that ability to design it from scratch if students want to. So we have some options that are, fast track programs that are a little bit more structured, and we can work with students through those too. But a lot of students do choose to do that individualized plan that is completely unique for them.
More information can be found on oakland.edu/BIS. That's oakland.edu/BIS for more information. You can also fill out information on that page too to contact the university and schedule an appointment to explore more options in the integrative studies program by calling 248-370-3229, 248-370-3229, or email them at bis@oakland.edu, bis@oakland.edu. All that information can also be found in the contact form on oakland.edu/BIS. Lindsay, just another couple of minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for our audience to keep in consideration at this time about Oakland University's Bachelor of Integrative Studies program or other information we haven't discussed that would be interesting to know?
Yeah, since I've worked with this program so long, I like to consider this the degree that makes people's dreams come true. And so we can make things work for students. We're very strategic about helping them to work through different difficulties that they might be facing with cost or time or different things like that. So we can work with students to really maximize those transfer credits, or if they're already at Oakland, we can help them in changing their major. We also have some students that start right from the very beginning as freshmen, and those students are really just looking for that individualized degree. Perhaps it's something that we don't offer at the university that's pretty unique, like sports management or something like that, and we can really design that and make that happen for those students. So overall, our alumni that are out there in the world, we are very proud of them and their success. We're happy that they keep in touch, and they look out for other alumni students who are graduating. So they're looking for them to hire and to bring on as well. So it's something that works for everyone, no matter what your career path is. And I think that's something that makes us really unique and why students really gravitate towards this degree.
We're joined by Lindsay Zeig, Program Academic Advisor at Oakland University for their Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies program, talking about the Bachelor of Integrative Studies program at Oakland University. More information can be found on oakland.edu/BIS. Lindsay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
oakland.edu/BIS for more information, as well as schedule an appointment with an academic advisor such as Lindsay or others at Oakland University to consider this program and others as well. We'll take a break on the Oakland County Megacast. When we come back, lots of fun remaining in the summer and coming up this fall in Lake Orion and Orion Township in that area of Oakland County. We'll be joined by Keith Aldridge from Canterbury Village when we come back on the Oakland County Megacast.
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer.
Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine.
To keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere.
Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Welcome back to the Oakland County Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. Program by visiting civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link, or typing in civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Oakland County Megacast is Keith Aldridge. He is the owner of Canterbury Village, where there are plenty of fun events and different happenings all throughout the summer, as well as some good causes and ways that you can support local businesses right here in Oakland County. Keith, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, good morning. Nice intro. I appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us. A lot of fun coming up and wrap up the month of July, and we continue on the summer in Orion Township at Canterbury Village. Coming up this coming weekend, it's one of your most beloved events, the Michigan Medieval Fair, July 23rd and 24th at Canterbury Village. Tell us about that event and how people can participate.
Yeah, well, the event, the entertainment is second to none. Last weekend was the first. It's a 2-weekend event this year, or 2-weekend festival, I should say. And, I'm pretty hard to please. And last weekend I was walking around and I'm like, man, this is good stuff. So if you're in that genre of medieval, want to dress up, or you want to come and buy a costume, I mean, there are great vendors on site. Sunday morning I was on Fox and I had some of the garb on, and this stuff is beautiful. I mean, handmade leather. I mean, it's gorgeous. So come on out, have some fun. It's a great family event, lots of entertainment. You can spend a couple hours out here, no problem, have some turkey legs and have a great time.
There's so many great medieval fairs and Renaissance fairs in the state of Michigan, especially over the course of the summer. What sets this one apart in Oakland County at Canterbury Village?
Well, we are the only one that really has a medieval village, quote unquote. Yeah. I mean, that's what Canterbury is. It's based off of an old English village. We have our own castle. And nothing against the other festivals, but they can't compare to our architecture and what we have to offer. Obviously, we built a bunch of stages this year for performers. We have 5 stages now on our campus, and all of them are packed with entertainment. One of the stages is decked out, looks like a castle. So it's really good stuff. And the gentleman I teamed up with is heavily involved with Renaissance festivals around the country. And he's got grade A+ entertainment. So very, very happy with it.
And so what sort of entertainment for those that may be interested in going and they just want to know what they're going to see in terms of the entertainment? Who will be there and what will be the performances?
Well, we have live music, a bunch of different genres of live music. The medieval, flutes, bagpipes, guitars, you name it. The bands are fantastic on multiple stages. As I said, we have, different medieval type shows on our castle stage, which is really neat. I don't know how moms or dads will feel about this, but we have belly dancers. It's very tasteful, but it's kind of cool. It is very tasteful. So, obviously we're a family event center, but the belly dancers were neat. I got a chuckle out of it. And then we have the Detroit Fight Club. This is a sport to these guys. They dress in their armor, full head to toe. And it's kind of like a wrestling match. And, it's a point system. Obviously, on the national scale, guys do this for a living. Obviously, at Canterbury, it's a little downscale. But then we have the jousters, which it's pretty incredible, the jousting. And these guys actually joust and hit each other. And, sometimes they fall off the horses and you're like, all right, we're not getting paid for this. You're not in the NFL, but they do it. They love it. And, they're passionate about it. These people are very passionate about their genre and this time period of history.
More information on this event coming up this weekend, wrapping up this weekend, July 23rd and 24th at Canterbury Village, can be found on Canterbury Village's website. That is simply canterburyvillage.com, canterburyvillage.com for more info and to purchase tickets. We're joined by Keith Aldridge, the owner of Canterbury Village, located in Orion Township, on the Oakland County Megacast next weekend, July 30th and 31st. Another fun event there as people in Oakland County and surrounding areas can run through platform 9 3/4, end up over at Canterbury Village to celebrate Harry Potter's birthday weekend. Tell us about that event.
Well, we've been doing Harry Potter for a few years. When we first started it, we were doing it in the wintertime in our castle. We've kind of outgrown our castle. We can't hold any more people. So we decided to move it to summertime and let people enjoy the whole experience at Canterbury Village. And I tell you what, like medieval, obviously the Harry Potter genre, these people are passionate. Sometimes you can't tell the actors from the customers. They do a great job of dressing up. And it's a cool event. Obviously, our campus fits well for the theme. There's a great scavenger hunt, a lot of activities, and a lot of fun stuff to do. And then obviously quality vendors. So if you're looking for that particular wand or sword or something of that nature, you can find it.
We're joined by Keith Aldridge. He is the owner of Canterbury Village, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. Again, Harry Potter's birthday weekend, that is July 30th and 31st. That's coming up next week. More information can be found on canterburyvillage.com. And of course, for those of you that are currently watching on TV or on our streams or watching on demand on civiccentertv.com this afternoon on our Megacast page, you'll see the Facebook page also with more information on this event. For those of you listening on the radio, again, on demand, civiccentertv.com. Sometime this afternoon, just click on our Megacast link, click through to watch full interviews, and you can click on our interview from today with Keith Aldridge, owner of Canterbury Village on the Oakland County Megacast. And Keith, we've talked in the past so many times about all the great small businesses that also call Canterbury Village home. There's so many great events throughout the year that often attract people to Canterbury Village. And one of the great benefits of that is that they're able to patronize these local businesses as well. We have another great event coming up at the beginning of August, the 6th and the 7th. It's Small Shop. It's Shop Small, Shop Local weekend at Canterbury Village. Tell us about that and how people can participate.
Yeah, it's a free weekend at Canterbury. Come on out. Obviously, support local businesses no matter where you're at. Canterbury Village, any downtown markets that you might be, by. Obviously, there's a place for Walmart and Amazon.com, but help out these small guys. It's important to the lifeblood of any local community. So for Shop Small, Shop Local, Shop Canterbury weekend, we just have street performers. We're going to have our own Princess Jocelyn out here, which we've introduced at Pirates and Princesses. It's gone kind of well. And we'll have live entertainment. It's just kind of a chill weekend, if that's the proper terminology. But yeah, come on out, listen to some music, get some donuts at Yates Cider Mill and have some fun.
More information on CanterburyVillage.com, CanterburyVillage.com. And that event is August 6th and 7th. As we preview that event, can you tell us too, because even though that event isn't until August, these small businesses continue to operate at Canterbury Village throughout the year. Can you give us an example of some of these businesses that people may be able to interact with that are based right here in Oakland County, and they can interact with at Canterbury Village on a regular basis?
Yeah, so obviously our best known partner would be Yates Cider Mill. Yates Cider Mill, number one, the big one in Rochester. Obviously, the road is torn up. If anybody knows that area over at DeQuinder there, there's some serious construction problems. I feel bad for Mike and his family. So come on out to Yates at Canterbury. Plenty of parking, lots of room, and you get the same great cider and the same great donuts. And even we offer more baked goods here at Canterbury, which is kind of neat. We have a couple great small shop owners. One's called the Wooden Tulip. So if you have a trendy high school student or moms that are very trendy and like the shop, Jim and Becky do a wonderful job stuffing their store with the most unique and the most fashion type of stuff that's out right now. They have gotten a great following. They've been with us for 3 years now and have a huge following in the Lake Orion, Oxford area. We have Scott's Farm General Store. They do a nice job. Obviously, the vegetables are coming into season now and lots of fun stuff there. Then we have our 6 shop owners in the back, the small houses. A big variety of people. They've been with us for 3 or 4 years now. All the shop owners come on out and support them, and they do a great job.
We're joined by Keith Aldridge. He's the owner of Canterbury Village with us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can find more information on all of their upcoming events and also the small businesses housed at Canterbury Village by visiting CanterburyVillage.com. Another great event coming up as we talk about supporting local and shopping local. We also want to talk about shopping Michigan Maid. You have a specific event for that. August 26th through the 28th. It is the Michigan Maid Festival at Canterbury Village. Give us a preview of that and just what sort of Michigan businesses are going to be housed at Canterbury Village for people to meet and, of course, buy some products from.
Yeah, though this has turned into one of our bigger events on our calendar. What we do, which I think is pretty cool, we give free vendor space to any vendor that is 100% Michigan made. So if you make your candles at home or you make your wood signs at home or whatever you do, your paintings, it's all handmade. You get a free booth at Canterbury that weekend. And so far, we have over 65 vendors signed up already. And obviously, what do we have? 7 more weeks until the event kicks off. So we'll max out at 80 vendors, which is as much as we want to hold at Canterbury. And it's just a great way to shop local and shop neat ideas and help out those small business owners that might work during the week and try to make a little side money on the weekends.
Going into the fall and into September, you also have some car shows coming up at Canterbury Village. Can you preview that event for us?
Yeah, obviously the holiday weekend, we have the Corvette Fest, which is a charity for Leader Dogs of the Blinds. I think they've been at Canterbury 15 or so years now, maybe even more. Wally Yeager is a big sponsor of that. So tip my cap to Wally Yeager, which is our local Chevy dealership here in Lake Orion. And a big supporter of our community. And then we have the Cobra, Great Lakes Cobra Car Club out as well. And obviously, if you're a lover of the Ford versus Ferrari movie, come on out and see the Cobras. I mean, they're some of the coolest cars in the world ever made. So it's a nice weekend, nice family weekend. Come on out, have some fun, and see some beautiful cars.
Well, tell us more about the process that you go through as the owner of this business and as you're running this business to plan these festivals. Just how far in advance are you and your team at Canterbury Village considering what to do next year and what to do the year after that and getting the ball rolling on all these different and great variety of fun for the whole family at Canterbury Village?
Yeah, it's basically, obviously right after the year ends with our holiday stroll and then our mitten drop. I mean, the first week in January, we're planning the calendar. Obviously, we've already even started on the calendar already for next year, see what events we want to add and what events maybe didn't really work for families in Oakland County. So it's a constant process, and our team does a great job. We got some great people. Obviously, a business of this size, you can't do it all by yourself. So our team does a wonderful job, and finding unique vendors, unique acts, and just providing a great product and a cheap family entertainment for people. Obviously the inflation is killing everybody right now, gas prices. So if you want to have a lot of fun, staycation, come on out to Canterbury Village. And it almost feels like you're in a different time period out here.
Lastly, another event on the docket for September as we get into more of the fall kind of weather around the time of September 10th and 11th. You have Michigan Donut and Ice Cream Fest happening at Canterbury Village. Give us a preview of that event here, Keith.
Well, that's kind of the tradition, isn't it? After the holiday weekend, all the cider mills kick into full gear, and we've been doing this event for a few years now, and it's a popular event for us. Obviously, having one of the most quality cider mills on site with Yates Cider Mill, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer for us. Lots of good family entertainment. Come on out, fill up on some, yummy, tasty donuts and fill up on some ice cream. Who doesn't love that? Obviously, the weather's usually pretty solid first couple weeks in September, so let's have some fun, right?
Joined by Keith Aldridge. He is the owner of Canterbury Village in Orion Township. You can find more information on all their upcoming events throughout the rest of the summer into the fall and throughout the rest of the year. Keep up to date with them at canterburyvillage.com, canterburyvillage.com, where you can also purchase tickets to these events. And if you're interested in being a vendor at some of these events and participating yourself, you can also get in contact with Keith and the team at Canterbury Village who join us on the Oakland County Megacast. Keith, another minute or so with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that people should be keeping in mind as they head to Canterbury Village this summer, or things that maybe they should be keeping a lookout for in the near future?
Yep, and a couple of things. Obviously, we have our own food bank here at Canterbury Village. So anytime you want to come out to Canterbury, please bring some box goods, some dry goods. Our food pantry right now with inflation is being very, very busy. So please help families out that need some help. If you're fortunate, please help some people that aren't as fortunate. And then obviously wrapping up for the holiday season, we'll team up once again with the Bottomless Toy Chest. We do a lot of good work, or the Bottomless Toy Chest does it. We're just part of it. The Bottomless Toy Chest does all the work. Giving gifts to kids that are struggling through some difficulties at the local hospital. So please support our charity initiatives, and we sure do appreciate it, Metro Detroit.
Keith, we appreciate you joining us and telling us more about all these great upcoming events, of course, the small businesses and your charitable contributions as well at Canterbury Village. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
We appreciate all his time and, of course, all the good that Canterbury Village does in our community between helping small businesses on site there and, of course, their partnership with the Bottomless Toy Chest. Appreciate Keith joining us once again on the Megacast. We'll take a break on your radio homes for the show, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills, as well as the remainder of our network. When we come back, we'll kick off the Michigan Megacast talking about the state of Michigan's job market. What do potential employees need to know as they're entering into the job market? What sort of jobs are available and what are employers looking for at this time? Ryan Hundt from Michigan Works Association joins us next on the Michigan Megacast.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere.
Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft, welcoming you to our live 5 days a week look into all things Michigan. Today, we'll be talking to industry leaders, political experts, and more about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders like you. Learn more about the program by visiting our website on civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is Ryan Hundt, the Chief Executive Officer of the Michigan Works Association. Back with us on the Megacast. Ryan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me again. It's great to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So, of course, the seasonal job market definitely having an impact in Michigan this summer as activities were coming back in droves, as events came back to some semblance of normalcy. At this moment in time, what is the state of the job market in the state of Michigan? In the past, we've seen that there were plenty of jobs open, but people simply weren't filling them. What was the status, or what has been the status at least, with the seasonal jobs and the general market going forward?
Sure. The seasonal jobs in Michigan, the job market is relatively strong for the most part. As you mentioned, there are many events, fairs, festivals coming back in person. If they were not last year in 2021, they certainly are back in person this year as well. So the hospitality industry continues to see a rise in employment opportunities. But with that rise, of course, comes the challenge of hiring and retaining talent. And so even though we're seeing a strong demand for those hires and those employees in the hospitality and tourism industry, we know that the short-term and long-term challenges that employers face across all industries, but perhaps more specifically within the hospitality industry in Michigan, that is something that they are keeping tabs on. Of course, especially heading into the winter months, we'll see some of that seasonal adjustment for hospitality employment and tourism employment in Michigan drop in certain parts of the state that see stronger summer months. But of course, there are plenty of winter opportunities as well, whether they're the ski resorts or some of the other hotels and destinations in Michigan, in our Pure Michigan Winter Wonderland here. There will certainly be job availability going forward in the hospitality and tourism industry. In terms of the general market in Michigan, what we're seeing and what we have seen for the past several months is a relatively steady unemployment rate. It's been about 4.3% since April of this year. we are still seeing growth in the job market. The survey of households that was conducted by the state of Michigan's labor market information team during the month of July, which was their most recent publication, we've seen that Michigan's labor force has risen by about 45,000 workers. Employment has grown by about 66,000 individuals over the past several months, and the unemployment has fallen by about 21,000 individuals, remaining steady at that 4.3% unemployment rate in Michigan that we're seeing. And we're seeing that around that same number, between 3.5% to 4.5% unemployment rate all across the country right now.
We're joined by Ryan Hundt. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Michigan Works Association, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Ryan, before we continue on talking about the state of the job market here in Michigan, how it impacts both employers and potential employees, let's go back to just some general information for those that may not be familiar with the Michigan Works Association. How does your organization work to benefit both those employers who are looking to fill these jobs and build their businesses here in Michigan, but also those employees who are out in the job market looking for work or looking to change their career and do it right here in Michigan?
Sure. The Michigan Works Association is the 501c3 nonprofit based in Lansing, and we support the 16 individual independently operated Michigan Works agencies all across the state. Those Michigan Works agencies have 66 service centers and 33 one-stop centers throughout the state of Michigan to help support both employers and job seekers. We pride ourselves on being a demand-driven model. And when I say a demand-driven model, what I mean is that we are exceptionally responsive and supportive of the employers in our local communities and regions. And we try to understand what are their existing challenges from a hiring, recruitment, and retention perspective. What skill sets are they looking for? Not only the technical skills, but also the soft skills they may be looking for. And then we translate that information in order to try and recruit and retain the job seekers to those positions, especially ones that are high demand, middle skill to high skill jobs right now throughout number of industries in Michigan and a number of employers as well. So for the employers, we can support them through resources and serving as an extension of their human resources functions in terms of recruitment, retention, and also supporting their employees or new hires with training dollars at both the federal and the state level. And then for the job seekers, we serve as a resource for them if they're looking for something as simple as a resume revamp or writing the resume, practicing interviewing skills so that they can be successful once they do get that interview with the employer. We can also support them in looking for additional resources, again, at the federal and the state level for upskilling opportunities, educational opportunities, and wraparound services as well. So if they're facing any barriers to employment, whether that be childcare accessibility and affordability, transportation, food access, there's a number of community partners across the state in each of our unique regions that we can work with to help lower or eliminate those barriers. That way, those individuals can focus more on how can they maintain their jobs, better support their families and their communities.
We're joined by Ryan Hundt. He is the CEO of Michigan Works Association, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. You can find more information by visiting their website at michiganworks.org. That's michiganworks.org for more information. And as we've gone through the pandemic, as we've come out of the thick of the pandemic, although we're still in the pandemic at this time, dealing with COVID-19, it continues to have an impact on our communities. Ryan, particularly in the industries such as the restaurant industry and the dining industry and other service industries, we've seen a heavy impact of the pandemic on exodus from those industries and a struggle as we've kind of grown more normalcy back into our daily lives and into our industries to see those jobs come back. Just in July, your organization had tweeted out that as of April, full service restaurant staffing levels were nearly 600,000 jobs below the point that they were at pre-pandemic. At this time, what is the status of our restaurant industry in the state of Michigan in terms of their ability to fill those jobs or their success filling those jobs, especially considering that so many of these restaurants are independently owned restaurants right here in the Great Lakes state?
Great question. The demand for services, right? If you go to your local restaurant right now, everyone wants to get back out. They want to feel part of their community, and what better way can they feel part of their community than visiting and dining at some of our wonderful restaurants and visiting and traveling to a number of different quality destinations in Michigan. The one thing that we have seen, though, is as that demand has continued to increase, the number of jobs and the staff at those locations may not be there currently to help meet that demand. If you drive up and down the street in your local community, I'm sure that you probably see many help wanted signs currently outside of our businesses in a number of industries. But down here, especially in the Lansing area, it seems as though the restaurants in particular are the ones that always have those help wanted signs. We're seeing increased wages for those positions, particularly entry-level positions in the restaurant industry. But that's still not attracting back as many individuals to those jobs as there were the number of positions available pre-pandemic. The good news is we have been doing quite a bit in the way of partnering with our folks at the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association. Amanda Smith, who is one of their executive vice presidents at MRLA, she has recently joined our board of directors at the Michigan Works Association, and she was also on a recent panel discussion that we facilitated in the month of July on the state of the restaurant and hospitality industry in Michigan. A few things that they are doing and encouraging their members to do is focus on upskilling and training. One of the reasons that we know individuals are leaving the jobs, when we talk about the dynamics like the Great Resignation, people are leaving their jobs because for two reasons, really. One is wages, but then the second reason is they don't feel there are quality job training or job advancement opportunities. And there really are a number of opportunities for individuals to advance in the restaurant industry in particular. The Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association earlier this year did launch a new training center and training programs to help individuals move along a career path within the restaurant industry. And that's one program that their members have been clamoring for a number of years. And because of the state of the job demand in the state of Michigan, especially in the restaurant industry, we feel that those types of programs to help communicate and advocate for training and career pathways within the restaurant industry, which I think traditionally people have seen and viewed those positions as entry level and not much advancement beyond there, but to communicate out what are the opportunities for career advancement within the restaurant industry, similar to career pathways in software development or advanced manufacturing. There's a number of opportunities for individuals to not only seek out those career advancements, but also increase their wages, increase their benefits as well, maybe move into leadership positions within those organizations and independently owned and operated businesses and restaurants. So we hope that we will be seeing many rewards in the years to come in the restaurant industry because of a greater focus on those career advancement opportunities.
MichiganWorks.org for more information and resources from the Michigan Works Association. We're joined by Ryan Hundt. He is the CEO of Michigan Works Association, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More than 16 affiliate organizations and counties throughout the state of Michigan associated with Michigan Works. And so give some more insight, Ryan, on how those individual local organizations work with individuals looking for jobs or looking to change careers to help them through that path and ease into those new jobs while also helping local employers, including a lot of these independently owned businesses and entrepreneurs, fill those open jobs that are really continuing to be a bit of an issue at this time.
Sure. We'll focus on the job seeker first. If you are an individual, whether you are currently unemployed or you are employed, but you feel as though I'm looking for a new opportunity in the industry I'm currently in because I have skills, I have credentials and certifications, or if you're looking to pivot to a new career and a new industry, your local Michigan Works office is there to support your career journey along the way. If you walk into one of our physical locations or even engage with your local Michigan Works office virtually over the computer, if you're looking for specific guidance on resume writing, interview preparation, what to do once you try and accept a job offer, how to look over a job offer letter and see, okay, how can I equate this to maybe the current level that I'm at? How does this match up with other job offers I may be getting? The Michigan Works offices and their staff at those offices can provide assistance in any number of areas for the job seeker. And if you're also looking for resources and maybe training dollars to help offset upskilling opportunities, the local Michigan Works office can certainly assist you with that as well. From an employer perspective, if you are a company and you are having challenges with hiring, recruitment, or employee retention, there's a number of things the business services staff at each of the 16 local Michigan Works offices can do for you. They can help set up job fairs either in person or virtually. We've seen a strong return of the in-person career fairs come back. And those can be set up specific for one employer. They can also be set up for a consortium of employers in a particular industry or broadly speaking, for a number of industries at their local Michigan Works office. The local business services staff can also provide some access to reliable training dollars. For example, the Going Pro Talent Fund is one of the most popular programs annually that the state of Michigan helps support with investments through the state appropriations process every single year since 2014. For fiscal year 23, the budget will begin October 1st, and we expect $55 million to be available for the Going Pro Talent Fund beginning October 1 of this year. So the application period will likely open up sometime in the fall, either October or November. And we constantly see a very strong demand for those dollars. We're always oversubscribed on the Going Pro Talent Fund, but those programs and other programs like incumbent worker training, on the job training dollars that are available through federal and state resources, those can all be accessed by contacting your local Michigan Works office, and they are with you every step of the way to help with employee recruitment, retention, and training.
MichiganWorks.org is the organization's website, MichiganWorks.org. You can also call their local Michigan Works number and the one-stop service center at 800-285-WORKS. That's 800-285-WORKS, 800-285-9675. And of course, find all this information and more on MichiganWorks.org. We're joined by Ryan Hundt. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Michigan Works Association with us on the Michigan Megacast. We have an exciting event coming up in September. The 11th through the 13th in Mount Pleasant will be the Michigan Works Association's annual conference. Plenty of learning opportunities for people in all different sectors of business. Tell us about this upcoming conference and what people can expect.
We are so excited to be back in person for the first time since 2019 for our annual conference. As you mentioned, that will take place September 11th through the 13th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in Mount Pleasant. We have a number of different workshops and keynote presenters, presentations that will be taking place. So if you're looking for additional insights into adult education or co-ops and internships, youth employment, a number of different resources that are available, strong networking opportunities with workforce development professionals, that will all be available at our annual conference coming up later this year, next month, actually, in about 5 weeks. We will just have wrapped up the 2022 annual conference. We'd like to thank both Consumers Energy and the W.K. Kellogg Foundation for being executive sponsors for this year's conference. We are on pace to have a record number of registrations for the conference this year, taking place again at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in Mount Pleasant. Whether you'd like to attend for the full time of the conference, September 11th through the 13th, or if you take a look at the workshops in the calendar at a glance and you see, hey, I really think that the Monday sessions are more appropriate for what I do in the workforce profession, you can also attend for one-day sessions as well. We hope that everybody will join us in Mount Pleasant this year. Again, September 11th through the 13th. You can find more information on the annual conference at MichiganWorks.org. Next year, we will be in Detroit at the Renaissance Center. And then in 2024, our annual conference will be heading north to the Grand Traverse Resort in Traverse City. But we're really excited to see everybody back in person in just over a month up in Mount Pleasant for our annual conference.
Number of different workshops there, including empowering self-care and workforce development, how technology is impacting the future of the Michigan job market, introduction to Michigan STEM forward internship programs, and more, all throughout several different sessions, September 11th through the 13th in Mount Pleasant at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort for the Michigan Works Association's annual conference. More information and to register, michiganworks.org/the-event, michiganworks.org/the-event. Ryan, just another minute or so with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for our audience to keep in consideration about the job market in Michigan for employers, for employees, or other information from Michigan Works at this time?
Sure. Whether you are a job seeker or an employer or a community partner, I know that workforce is continuing to impact a number of our private sector business members all throughout the state, whether they're having difficulty with hiring, recruitment, and retention, if they're looking for additional resources, or if we're looking to pull in additional partners to help lower or eliminate barriers around key factors like childcare accessibility, childcare affordability, transportation, food access, training dollars. Workforce really does touch a number of different partners all throughout the state in all of our communities and regions. And so if you have not done so already, I would encourage everyone to contact their local Michigan Works office. And you can find your local Michigan Works office by visiting our website at michiganworks.org. There is an interactive map that lists out within your region the local Michigan Works offices themselves and key contact information. Again, please feel free to reach out. Let us know what we can do for you and help you along the way in your workforce journey.
Ryan, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
MichiganWorks.org for more information. That's MichiganWorks.org to learn more and to access all of their resources. September 11th through the 13th in Mount Pleasant is their annual conference. Again, you can learn more information, learn about all their workshops, their keynote speakers such as Lila Lazarus, and more by visiting MichiganWorks.org/the-event. We're going to take a break on the Michigan Megacast. On the other side, the pandemic had a wild influence on the number of people that were flocking to campgrounds and getting RVs to go camping and go on vacations with their family. We'll talk to John Lindley about that and more, as well as what that translates to today with the pandemic not being over, but being in a different state than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with John Lindley coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Michigan Megacast.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer.
Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong.
Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong.
Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is John Lindley. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association, as well as the Michigan Association of RVs and Campgrounds and Self-Storage, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. John, thanks for being with us today.
No, thanks for having me, Tyler.
Appreciate having you on. So it was really interesting early on in the pandemic as people were trying to figure out what are we going to do in our little pods as a family, especially to get out in the community, get out and recreate, have some fun and not be so cooped up in our houses. And so what they said is, let's go into another form of housing and get inside an RV and go travel around the state of Michigan. Many people bought RVs. In fact, the numbers were quite staggering early on in the pandemic. There's a statistic that was provided in our notes. In 2021, shipments of RVs totaled over 600,000 units nationwide. That was a nearly 40% gain over units that were shipped in the entire year of 2020. So the momentum continued to be there. What do you believe post the initial portion of the pandemic, when everyone was locked down, has been that motivation for people to continue to be so interested in camping and in RVs?
Well, I think that, and once again, thanks for having us, Tyler. I think that the initial portions of the pandemic, where there was a necessity and a desire to get outside, drove some people to the outdoors, potentially for the first time, discovered the RVing and camping lifestyle for the first time and what the great outdoors had to offer. And then in there would be people who potentially rediscovered it. Maybe they camped with their families when they were kids and hadn't since, but had an opportunity to rediscover the RV and camping lifestyle through the pandemic. And very frankly, if you spend a couple of long weekends or a week or even a couple of days in one of Michigan's many campgrounds and the great outdoors here in the state, it doesn't take a genius to understand why people continue to return to those areas after experiencing it for the first time.
So many people, when they think about camping, they think about being out in the elements, about being in a tent, about, it's middle of Michigan's summer, there's no AC, it's going to be humid. But Michigan's got a great wealth of campgrounds and interesting places that allow you to see the nature of Michigan without necessarily having to go and get a hotel or get an Airbnb or find other housing in the city or in cities near Michigan's lakes or Michigan's forestry. Why is camping in Michigan, especially in the spring and the summer seasons and even in the fall, such a unique experience for those here in the Midwest and really across the U.S.?
Well, for a number of reasons, without any question, but from the very southeast and southwest corners of the Lower Peninsula, all the way up to to the Sioux and the Eastern UP and the Western UP and the Porcupine Mountains, there are 1,300 licensed campgrounds and RV parks in the state of Michigan, right around 1,300, and they offer immediate and close proximity to so many different things that you can do here in the state of Michigan. And certainly, the outdoors is what people think of. But that's not the only place. There's a lot of campgrounds and RV parks down in Southeast Michigan around many of the museums like the Henry Ford and otherwise to see and other different fantastic tourist activities. Jellystone Campground in Frankenmuth is one of the most popular campgrounds in the entire state of Michigan, with the nearby water park and, of course, everything that Frankenmuth has to offer.
We're joined by John Lindley. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association, as well as the Michigan Association of RVs and Campgrounds and Self-Storage, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. For more information on the Michigan RV and Campgrounds Association, you can visit michiganrvandcampgrounds.org, michiganrvandcampgrounds.org, which has information on various regions of the state and travel info and different places you can go, opportunities, as well as more. Again, that's michiganrvandcampgrounds.org for more information. And so for those that are traveling and maybe haven't traveled in an RV before, or haven't gone camping before, but want to explore Michigan, what makes that experience so much different than maybe some of the more traditional touristy events and vacations that some may take in the state of Michigan to really give them opportunity to interact with what makes Michigan special?
Well, for my family and myself, and I believe thousands of other Michiganders who enjoyed that portion of the camping and RV lifestyle, for me, it's the outdoors. Being able to, I have my cup of coffee and my breakfast outside every morning when we're camping. We ride our bikes around the campgrounds as an example and enjoy everything that the great outdoors has to offer. Another perfect example of that for me is getting outside of the artificial light of the suburban areas where I live. And I've looked up at the sky before and thought, I didn't know it was possible to see so many stars as what you're able to see in some of those areas around the state of Michigan. So it provides a great and affordable ability to travel and see different parts of what Michigan has to offer as well.
We're joined by John Lindley. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association, as well as the Michigan Association of RVs, Campgrounds, and Self-Storage on the Michigan Megacast. Again, their website is michiganrvandcampgrounds.org, michiganrvandcampgrounds.org for more information. We know on the automotive side, for cars in particular, with the chip shortages, with the supply chain issues, that manufacturing cars and particularly getting those cars to sales lots and ultimately to the customers has been a bit of a struggle. Has that been a similar experience on your side of things with RVs, given that the technology in these vehicles is very similar, of course, to other traditional motor vehicles, but also maybe even in some cases more advanced because there's more technology in them?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tyler, and I appreciate you asking. Early on during the pandemic, we the RV industry was no stranger to some of the struggles in supply chain that other industries had as well. But I can tell you with a great level of confidence now that those struggles don't largely exist anymore. The availability of inventory at RV dealers across the state of Michigan is fantastic right now. If you drive by the lots and visit with those sales teams at those different RV and retail centers and dealerships, you'll find exactly what it is that you're looking for. There may be a little bit of a lingering problem with some of the motorhomes, class A, B, and C motorhomes, where the inventory isn't as great as what it once was pre-pandemic. But even that is starting to come around to a much greater level of inventory than what we had seen early in, for example, in first quarter, second quarter 2020.
Another interesting statistic, while in the past, most RVers had rented or borrowed their RVs for vacation, nowadays 77% of RVers own their vehicle. Regardless of that, whether you're renting an RV for a family vacation or just to get away for a little while, or you're owning an RV and this is going to be one of your assets and you're going to be traveling around with this, what should people that are interested in RV camping or in owning an RV be considering before they look to purchase or look to rent, so that they are getting the best experiences possible out of this product, but also so that they're being safe and they're being considerate and they know what they're getting involved with before they get into it?
Yeah, that's once again a great question. There's a lot to consider before making a purchase, like a new RV. The first, for example, is do I want to motorize or do I want a travel trailer? Something that I'm going to tow behind a vehicle that I have or that I'm going to purchase, or something that's going to move itself, drive itself to my ultimate destination. Beyond that, once you make that decision, you've got to start thinking about different floor plans and layouts, obviously size and weight. Different tow vehicles come with different tow capacities, and being able to know how much does my pickup truck or SUV have the capacity to tow, whether it's across town or across the state. And I'll tell you, Tyler, the best place to try and figure out exactly what it is in that marketplace that a consumer wants to buy are the RV shows that take place across the state of Michigan. In fact, MARVAC, Michigan Association of RVs and Campgrounds, presents the 6th largest and best RV shows across the state of Michigan every year. And we've got one coming up in not too long, September 28th through October 2nd in Novi.
We're joined by John Lindley. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Association of Michigan Manufactured Housing Association, as well as the Michigan Association of RVs and Campgrounds and Self-Storage on the Michigan Megacast. John, another minute with you or so before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be interesting or important for our audience to be considering about RVs, about camping, and more in Michigan that your organization works with?
Well, I mean, you touched on it a little bit. We like to refer to the camping and RV lifestyle as the original social distancing. It obviously became very, grew in popularity through the pandemic, but has maintained that popularity throughout. Just to keep in mind that wherever you are in the state of Michigan, and whatever it is that you're wishing to get out of the camping or RV trip that you're having, there's something for you. RVs are available from under $7,000 to well over $500,000 for a Class A motorhome versus a pop-up camper. And there's campgrounds, like I said before, from the western UP to the furthest southeast tip of the state. There's something for everybody without any question here in the state of Michigan.
John, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Tyler.
More information on the website, again, MichiganRVandCampgrounds.org, MichiganRVandCampgrounds.org for more information on the organization, including resources on RV and campground travel all throughout the state of Michigan in a variety of different regions, whether you're in the UP, the northern lower peninsula, southwestern Michigan, Oakland County, wherever you are. More information at MichiganRVandCampgrounds.org. You can also follow them on Twitter at Michigan RVers on Twitter. We'll take a break on the Michigan Megacast. On the other side, the primary elections are over. We are straight on away to the November general election, where there's going to be a very competitive race for the gubernatorial race here in the state of Michigan, as well as some fallout from the primaries on both the Republican and the Democratic side. Dave Dulio from Oakland University, political science professor and the director of its Center for Civic Engagement, joins us next on the Michigan Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer.
Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong.
Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Connect with local leaders, philanthropists, and more. The Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce presents the 2022 Leadership Breakfast. Join the Chamber for a morning of insight with guest speaker Laura Graneman, with the whole event emceed by Fox 2 News anchor Roop Raj. Join your local businesses at the Wabeat Country Club September 13th at 8:30 a.m. Order your tickets by September 6th at westbloomfieldchamber.com/breakfast. We'll see you there.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast, our live daily 1-hour show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Well, between the gubernatorial primary on the Republican side of the ticket, the battle between Haley Stevens and Andy Levin in the newly drawn 11th congressional district for Michigan for the U.S. Congress and more. It was very interesting and very, very important primary election night on Tuesday of this week. And of course, now we're joined by Dave Dulio. He is a professor of political science and the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University to go over all the results of that and the impact it will have on November's general election. Dave, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Good to see you, Tyler.
Appreciate having you on. So we have our gubernatorial race set for November. It will be between incumbent Democrat Gretchen Whitmer and Republican challenger Tudor Dixon from the west side of the state, who will be battling for the gubernatorial election in November. In terms of what catapulted Tudor Dixon to this victory on Tuesday night, we saw that she was near the top of the polls for a while, but maybe wasn't such a clear-cut leader. And then they have the results of the election last night that had Tudor Dixon winning by over almost 20% over Kevin Rinke in second place. So a significant difference there. How much of a difference do you believe that Donald Trump's endorsement had and her finally getting across the finish line and really taking that lead?
Yeah, I think it's real simple. I think it put her over the top. I think the Trump effect is felt very strongly in that in those final results. I think you see, one element of that, one measure of that is the fact that Tudor Dixon, at least in Oakland County, where we have these kind of results to the detail of them, she really ran away with it on election day voting as compared to absentees, right? So that tells me a couple things, right? One, that Republicans who were undecided, waited until the end, and probably waited till that Trump endorsement came before casting their ballots. And then there's the factor that, Republicans embrace absentee voting at least in the last couple cycles, less than Democrats. So, that there was always going to be a high number of people who voted on election day in this GOP primary, but Tudor Dixon really killed it on election day voting.
We're joined by Dave Dulio from Oakland University on the Michigan Megacast. He is the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University as we come out of the primary election season in the state of Michigan and head toward the November general election. Of course, as stated, Tudor Dixon, the Republican challenger now against Governor Gretchen Whitmer, coming up this fall. It's going to be a heated battle. It already is a heated battle. Republicans have been, of course, on the offensive against Governor Whitmer, whether they've been going for the gubernatorial nomination or any other nomination in the state of Michigan. What do you believe at this time is going to be Tudor Dixon's biggest hurdle to overcome in order to defeat Governor Whitmer in a state that in many key population areas continues to trend more Democrat?
Sure, I'll give you a couple of them. One I think is, and some of them are related. One is name recognition. She's known among Republicans, certainly, but not all Republicans. Not all Republicans voted for her. Even in the primary, right? She got 40% of the vote. And so name recognition. She's going to have to introduce herself to voters around the state, and of course, it takes money to do that. She needs to raise as much money as she possibly can, as quickly as she can. She faces Gretchen Whitmer, who has a huge campaign cash advantage over her. So that's going to be really important to watch, not only on Dixon fundraising, but if and when third-party groups come in on the Republican side and try to spend in support of the Dixon campaign. And then I think you have to look at the issues that are going to be where the election is sort of fought, right? Inflation, gas prices, roads. I think education will come up. I think you'll hear both candidates talk about abortion. So how does that get? Where does the sort of issue landscape fall?
We're joined by Dave Dulio, the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on oakland.edu about upcoming events and seminars with the Center for Civic Engagement. Again, oakland.edu for all that information. Other interesting information, we'll go to southeastern Michigan, in specific in Oakland County. The big battle in the primary for the Democratic side really was between Haley Stevens and Andy Levin in the newly drawn 11th district. Andy Levin, of course, previously representing areas of Macomb County, but of course resides in Bloomfield Township in Oakland County, losing that race to Haley Stevens. In the end, very close race between the two of them. What put Haley Stevens over the top versus Andy Levin in this particular area that does tend to be very, very much progressive, even within the Democratic Party?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Tyler, I don't see it that way. I think that this, number one, was a significant divide in the results, right? She won with 60%, almost 60% of the vote. So 60-40. That's a pretty good margin right there. That's a wider margin than I expected. I would also say too that if we look at the district, right, it includes many different kinds of areas. You've got places where Andy Levin did well, which we would expect. Royal Oak, Ferndale, right? Those are places that do have, as you mentioned, many more sort of progressive Democrats as compared to more sort of traditional Democrats, right? He also did well in his home area. Bloomfield Township won a majority in several of those precincts. But if you look at other places in the district, Farmington Hills, Commerce, Wixom, Waterford, right? Those places are not where there's a bastion of liberal Democrats, right? That's where Haley Stevens did well. She won in central and western Oakland County. And the kicker, I think, is Pontiac, right? That's a city that has a lot of Democrats in it. It's got a lot of maybe progressive Democrats in it, certainly a lot of African-American voters. And I think it's important to note a couple things about that. One, Pontiac is currently in neither of their districts. So it was new ground for both Stevens and Levin. And I think it's important to note, and I'm not one who normally thinks endorsements do much, but I think we can look at Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence's endorsement of Haley Stevens, an African-American member of Congress endorsing Haley Stevens. That might have given her sort of an entree into Pontiac, where Brenda Lawrence vouches for Haley Stevens, and that sets her on her way to win every precinct in Pontiac.
We're joined by Dave Dulio. He is a professor of political science and also the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University with us on the Michigan Megacast, oakland.edu. For more information, it's oakland.edu/CCE for specific info from the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, especially as we head into a very competitive November election season here in the state of Michigan. Another race that was very interesting, and to go on from the Levin and Stevens race on the Democratic side, we go toward the general election in November. And in Oakland County, and in that particular district, in those particular areas, which have in the past been indicative of Oakland County, more leaning Republican, but in the past few elections have really been leaning more Democrat. On the Republican side, do you think that the Stevens challenger is going to make this competitive, given that there has been sort of a resurgence in a sense of urgency from the Republican Party? Do you see there being a chance of that similar resurgence, having a different energy in the Republican Party in Oakland County, and maybe making a race like this, the 11th district, more competitive?
It's going to be really hard. I think and I think the fundamentals of this new 11th district are simply that there are far more Democrats who live in this district than Republicans, right? It is, as far as I see it, as well as other folks who look at this stuff. I'll give you one that your viewers and listeners can go to. It's the Cook Political Report. They are an excellent handicapping and analysis shop out of Washington, D.C. I would be surprised if this wasn't on their list of safe Democratic districts, right? One that is just overly Democratic, where it's going to be really tough for any Republican, no matter who they are.
We're joined by Dave Dulio on the Michigan Megacast, professor of political science, and also is the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University. On the west side of the state, Peter Meijer, an incumbent Republican, was primaried, as it's known, lost in the primary on the Republican side of the ballot. He is one of many that have lost their election races after voting in favor of impeaching former President Donald Trump while he was still in office. He is now the second House Republican that had voted for Trump to be impeached that has then lost in the following election after that. What does that say for Michigan's Republican Party and the direction that they're going, with Pete Meijer very much being a moderate Republican as it stands today? Is the moderate side of the Republican Party in Michigan at this point more of a moot point, considering Pete Meijer losing in this race with his more moderate stance? And of course, as you said earlier, the endorsement from Donald Trump for Tudor Dixon really putting her over the top in the gubernatorial primary.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about the whether the moderate wing is dead. I think we need to see how things play out, because and things are always going to change and evolve, right? I think, sure. But the Meijer-Gibbs race is another one where there's no doubt that was a Trump effect, right? Gibbs, the Trump endorsed candidate, defeats Meijer in a district that leans Democratic, and I think here's maybe an uncomfortable Trump effect for Republicans, conservatives, however we want to put it. If Peter Meijer had won that race, I think he wins the general election in that 3rd congressional district. With Gibbs winning, I think he loses. So that is another Democratic-leaning district. I think Joe Biden carried that district, if we were to add up all the precincts in the new 3rd, by 8 or 9 points in 2020. So it's a Democratic district. I find it hard to believe that a Trump-backed candidate is going to be able to win in a Democratic leaning area. And I think that the important part about that is beyond that one race, right? It's really about the Republican efforts to take back control of the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. As these primaries finish up, right, we'll have to take stock of the candidates that both parties have nominated and their fits for particular districts. John Gibbs might be and I don't know him, right? I've never met him. He may be a terrific guy and a terrific candidate, but not in that district, right? And just as you can look at other Republican nominees around the country and look at them and say, okay, is that person capable of winning an election? If we look at U.S. Senate seats in places like Pennsylvania and Georgia and some others across the country, what do those primary results mean for GOP attempts to regain control of the U.S. Senate, or in the Meyer Gibbs case, the U.S. House? In that, because if Gibbs loses, that's just one more seat somewhere else that Republicans are going to have to pick up to make Nancy Pelosi not be speaker anymore.
We're joined by Dave Dulio from Oakland University Center for Civic Engagement on the Michigan Megacast. Dave, one more minute with you before we'll need to say goodbye today. What are your key takeaways from this primary election in Michigan and what that means, or what that could mean, at least at this time, in terms of a forecast for the general election in November?
Sure. I think Trump is a big, sort of at the top of the list, right? I think that was his presence was felt across the state. And I think you see that with the Dixon race. I think you see that with the Gibbs victory. And I think we also have to think about how this political environment in Michigan changed in the wake of the Roe versus Wade decision, the Dobbs decision that struck down Roe versus Wade. I think there is plenty of evidence to say that it has energized Democrats far beyond what they were prior. And that's sort of stating the obvious. But midterm elections are often all about turnout, where the party of the president often suffers a little in terms of its enthusiasm. And this may be very different now in 2022. I think so that's something to watch. The enthusiasm that voters have around that ballot initiative on abortion that's likely to be on the ballot in November. And the other one is, Joe Biden's approval ratings for his job as president are dismal, right? They are historic lows or approaching historic lows, mid-30s. Gretchen Whitmer's are much better, especially among independents. So we have to watch that. Does she stay with relatively high job approval numbers with independents, or does Joe Biden start to drag her down a little bit? That's something to keep an eye on.
Dave, appreciate your time, appreciate your insight. More information, of course, going to be coming forth, and more seminars from the Center for Civic Engagement at oakland.edu/CCE. Dave, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tyler.
oakland.edu/CCE for all of that information during another very competitive political season here in the Great Lakes State. That does it for today's edition of the Oakland County and Michigan Megacast. We'll return tomorrow with new editions beginning at 10 a.m.